Ahead on Action 2 News at 6, the Chilton neighborhood is shaken after the SWAT team is called for what turned out to be a hoax. What neighbors are now saying about their community.
Plus, heavy rain and golf ball size hail forces a school to close in the Upper Peninsula. How people in Stevenson, Michigan are cleaning up after that storm.
And fans are getting their first look at the Packers this offseason. We'll tell you how businesses are hoping to cash in on the team's OTAs.
From WBAY-TV, this is Action 2 News at 6. Coverage you can count on.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Bill is off tonight. This was the scene late last night in Chilton as authorities responded to a call that a man shot his wife and was threatening to shoot anyone who came to help her.
The SWAT team responded. Officers surrounded the home, and then nearly 2 hours later, it was determined the entire situation was a hoax, a case of swatting. That's when first responders are tricked into responding to a fake emergency. Tonight's top story, Emily Matesic visits the Chilton neighborhood, still a little shaken by what's happened.
The residents of this home on Madison Street in Chilton tell us they were shocked to be woken up by police early this morning. The married couple with 7 children said they had unplugged their landline phone around 10 p.m. after receiving several prank calls. Police believe the prank caller may be behind what happened next.
Respond to 430 South Madison. Male subject shot his wife. Unknown if she's breathing.
That's the information that was relayed to officers. It set off a large police presence. The SWAT team from Calumet County, along with law enforcement officers from several other agencies, surrounded the house. Nearly 2 hours after the initial call, authorities were finally able to make contact with the homeowners and determine the whole case was a hoax.
It's a lot of resources to call everybody in and do this, but every situation we get, we have to tactfully handle it, make sure that safety is utmost importance.
While neighbors are glad the call ended up being a hoax, they're still a little uneasy that an incident of swatting happened so close to home.
It's a little spooky, kind of, we've had too much of this going on, and I don't like it.
While the homeowners didn't want to speak on camera, they did tell me that they are sorry for the inconvenience caused to their neighbors last night, and they do hope authorities find whoever is responsible for making the fake emergency call. Reporting in Chilton, Emily Matesic, Action 2 News.
A Greenville zoo is under fire after a new report showed the zoo violated animal welfare laws. Special Memory Zoo in Outagamie County received a number of citations after a U.S. Department of Agriculture inspection on May 4th. That's the same zoo where a baby kangaroo and 4 baby goats went missing earlier this month. Inspectors found the zoo made several violations like rodent droppings and mice found around the feed stocks. Water bottles for primates were empty. An enclosure where monkeys were held had 2 piles of excrement with mold growing on it. And bedding in a white deer pen was so soiled there was no dry spot for the deer to lie down. The owner of the zoo says the violations actually occurred a few miles away from the zoo in a winter holding facility. She says the inspections took place while they were trying to move the animals to the zoo as they were preparing to open for the season. Jason Zimmerman will have much more on this story coming up on Action 2 News at 10.
Hail falling from the sky, leaving damage and shutting down schools, all in one small town in the UP. Stevenson, Michigan was hit hard last night. George Roda shows us how people there are recovering.
This is a wife's corn, onions, and garlic, and that's about all that's left.
Water is still flowing from the backyard of Gene Johnson's mother-in-law's home in Stevenson, Michigan. Heavy rains and large hail, like the one he took a photo of, leaving a big mess for his family. He says he's amazed how much hail fell once all was said and done.
Oh yeah, instant winter. I got a brother-in-law 5 miles east, and my daughter lives 3 miles west, and all they had was rain and some small hail. But we got hail the size of golf balls came down.
School was canceled in town. Stevenson Elementary flooded, still drying out. Teacher Becky Marcinek had a busy morning.
Yes, I threw out many papers and books, but this is a reading series that I use, and reading series that's pretty expensive, so I hate to throw it out. I'm hoping some of this will dry.
The dumpster behind the school packed with items too damaged to keep.
All the classrooms had nice carpeting for the kids to sit on. We had to take those all out. They were soaked.
Eden Haas is trying to get the school back in shape. She says it could take some time.
I don't know, just one step at a time, and we'll get it done and get it ready for these kids to come back in and start learning again.
There are tiny mounds of hail which look like snow all around town. Gene says there's still some cleaning to do before things are back to normal.
I'd rather be working.
In Menominee County, George Rodas, Action 2 News.
Hi everybody, first weather. We've had a few isolated showers, a few thunder showers here around portions of Wisconsin or northeast Wisconsin this afternoon. You're looking at the north end of Lake Winnebago, and a couple of showers, one small one just popped up there south of Sherwood, so that will impact you in Sherwood here very shortly actually. And another larger shower there right over the north end of Lake Winnebago. That will move right up into Kimberly, Little Chute, Kaukauna within the next 15-30 minutes or so. And I just checked it for hail, and there are no signs of hail there. The far north is where there have been some stronger storms, the strongest of which at the present time is moving northward into the UP, just to the east and southeast of Iron Mountain, Michigan. And another cell which is weakening there to the south, as you'll notice, that will be heading up toward Aurora at about 6:22 and maybe Spread Eagle at 6:30. That one has been weakening. The larger view shows that most of the state has been dry. We've had sun and filtered sunshine with some higher clouds, and once the sun goes down, these showers, thunderstorms will be gone, and we'll have a quiet night awaiting the arrival of a good bet for thunderstorms coming in tomorrow. Otherwise, you'll have a very warm, mild early evening, and temperatures will be mostly in the 70s early this evening, and we'll be in the lower to mid-range 60s around midnight.
George, thanks. We are getting our first glimpse of the Packers in action this offseason. OTAs, or organized team activities, were open to the public for the first time today at Lambeau Field. Railbirds watching the green and gold, new faces and old. It's a preview of what to expect this season. Training camp starts in late July. Sports Director Chris Roth will have more on what head coach Mike McCarthy had to say about today's activity coming up in sports. And as fans enjoyed summer-like weather watching the Pack practice, downtown Green Bay released dozens of other activities going on over the next few months.
Claire Cayley explains how businesses hope the visiting Packers fans will stick around.
We just wanted to see Green Bay and check the place out.
All the way from Hawaii, more than 4,000 miles from Titletown, the Merida family checks out the first signs of the green and gold.
This is our first time at Lambeau. Yes, we're very excited. We hope to get back in the fall for a game, but it's a very long trip for one game.
Bob and Edith Mudrock made the trip from San Antonio, Texas, but aren't planning to venture too far from Lambeau.
I've been downtown Green Bay before. I mean, it's nice when we'll drive through, but I don't think we're really going to get out and horse and buggy it or anything like that.
While hundreds of fans will come to Green Bay this summer to see the Packers practice, many in downtown hope that they travel to other parts of the city to see what it has to offer. Green Bay's Downtown Summer in the City lineup of 168 events was released today.
Certainly the Packers are a tremendous draw and really give us that name recognition. But these are the events that keep visitors in our community much longer and really gives them a great experience while they're here.
Last year, more than 3 million people visited Green Bay, and with more events this summer, they're hoping that number grows.
And as we grow the number of visitors, of course, we grow the amount they spend in our community, and we grow the amount of tax revenue they generate. And the more tax revenue that we get from visitors, of course, the less we need to depend on our residents.
Claire Cayley, Action 2 News, Green Bay.
A Marshfield man is found guilty in a Packers ticket scam. 37-year-old Patrick Blotchett was found guilty of multiple counts of theft by false representation. Prosecutors say he stole more than $50,000 in a scam that promised fans Packers tickets. Last fall, several people paid him more than $6,000 each for what they thought would be season tickets. The court ordered him to pay back the money to his victims. Blotchett will be sentenced in August.
The trial for former TV star Dustin Diamond continues in Ozaukee County today, with a woman testifying he was armed with a knife during a bar fight. The 38-year-old Diamond is best known for his role playing Screech on the show Saved by the Bell. He's accused of stabbing a man at a Port Washington bar on Christmas Day. A woman testified today that her cousin stumbled and pushed Diamond's girlfriend, starting the fight. The woman says she did not see Diamond pull a knife, but heard someone shout that he had one. Prosecutors also introduced a blood-stained shirt and sweater and a sliced coat worn by the man who says he was stabbed by Diamond that night. Diamond is charged with a felony count of recklessly endangering public safety and 2 misdemeanors.
The Oneida tribe is amending its marriage law to allow gay marriages. The Oneida Nation of Wisconsin's Business Committee acted unanimously to approve same-sex marriage. The law doesn't go into effect until June 10th. The definition of marriage is being amended, replacing husband and wife with spouses. The state of Wisconsin legalized gay marriage last year.
12 Green Bay High School students are getting hands-on experience renovating a home. Students at West High School are helping renovate this home on Broadway Street in Green Bay. It's part of the NeighborWorks project. Green Bay's Rotary Club helped start the educational program, providing funding for safety equipment and power tools. Members of the Rotary Club got to see the students work firsthand this afternoon.
This is what it's all about as far as we're concerned. Our focus is on youth and health and education issues throughout Brown County. Our local foundation is specifically geared to give back to the community.
The cooperative effort included help from the Northeastern Wisconsin Technical College and Brown County Home Builders Association. Well, still ahead, a part of a historic Two Rivers factory is going out with a bang.
It's scheduled to be demolished. We'll tell you when and how you can get a view of that explosion.
Well, just a few isolated showers, one of them over northern portions of Lake Winnebago, and will be drifting right up toward Little Chute and Kaukauna very shortly. And then the other is in the far north, and that is going to be heading up toward the Upper Peninsula, right around Iron Mountain in Norway, and also Dunbar, as well as maybe Pembine. Be back after this.
From WBAY-TV, Bill Jartz and Cammie Rapson, this is Action 2 News at 6. Coverage you can count on.